Hello, everybody. How's it going? Hope you guys are all well. There's a lot for me to cover on today's show. We're also coming an hour earlier as per usual, and I will explain why. But there's a lot on the show that we need to cover today. There are a couple of stories that came out on ESPN Cricket Info not so long ago, a couple of hours ago. One of them is about Tristan Stubbs, and the other is about South Africa's new T20 league in an article by Fidos Munda once again. Um, Obviously, right, she is right in front with regards to reporting on this and giving us information on the tournament. So we'll be discussing that, but we'll also be discussing T20 batting on difficult pitches and how to approach it, etc. Hopefully, we will be getting Aditya on the show today as well with us to discuss it with us and discuss what he believes are important factors when it comes to this. But before we get going, before we get started, don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. If that button is red, click the red button. Click subscribe. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Also, download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. The latest issue has Keshav Maharaj on the front cover, so you can't miss it, guys. Also, become a patron today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. This is how you become a part of the Cricket Fanatics family and help us grow as a publication, help us grow as a fan channel, help us grow in the digital space. So please get involved with it. In the description, there's a link. Click on the Patreon link to become a patron today. Also, go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all updates. That's where we will be updating you on majority of the things that happen in South African cricket. So go ahead there too. But without further ado, guys, let's get straight into today's video. I'm excited to talk to you. There's a lot to cover, so stay with me and let's have an awesome show. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host, Khalid Maiden. This is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. And today we will be discussing a couple of news stories as well as an interesting topic that we have as well on the title. Sorry that we're coming to you a little bit earlier. We're coming to you an hour earlier. Load shedding, guys, has struck again in South Africa. And I had a movie at 8 o'clock, which was booked already prior. And because of load shedding, they've moved the movie forward. So everything in my life had to move forward by 1 hour because I'm going to watch Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So, yeah, so I'm sorry we had to come a little bit earlier. Load shedding is a bit crap. It's also going to cause problems with us, with the shows, etc. But we're going to try and bring it to you at 7 every single time, everything consistently going forward. You know that's what we're going to do. But let's get into it. There's a lot to cover on today's show. And by the time I'm finished with covering everything, we will probably be joined by Aditya. So hopefully we can get there. Let's start first and foremost with the Tristan Stubbs news. Now, this is massive news because we've all been speaking about how we would like to see Tristan Stubbs in the IPL. Now, he might be getting his opportunity. He has been called up to the squad. The story was on Cricket Info. They have signed South African Tristan Stubbs as a replacement for Timel Mills. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, guys. Who has sustained an ankle injury and has been ruled out of the rest of the IPL 2022. Mills played 5 matches for Mumbai this season, picking up 6 wickets at an economy of 11.17. He last played on April 16 against Lucknow Super Giants, where he conceded 54 runs from 3 wicketless overs. But it's understood the injury is a minor one, and he's expected to be fit for Sussex's first T20 blast game on May 26. Stubbs, 21, is talented middle order batter and will be joining Mumbai for a price of 20 lakh, approximately $26,000. He has had a promising domestic season, scoring 293 runs at an average of 48.83. We've obviously spoken about this highly. We actually had him on the show as well after these performances. strike rate of 183.12 for the Warriors in the recently concluded CSA T20 Challenge. In all, he has scored 506 runs and 3 off centuries from 17 T20s at a strike rate of 157.14. He has also featured in 8 first class and 11 List A games. He was part of South Africa A squad for the ongoing tour of Zimbabwe and doing pretty well, mind you, as well. So, excellent news, I think, for Tristan Stubbs. This now definitely, in my eyes, means that um, he should be within the squad for South Africa. Now, maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I do believe that he is ready to be able to be in the squad, a South African T20 squad, and maybe he could be a starter in that number 6 slot going forward. Uh, if he gets the opportunity to play for the Mumbai Indians, I mean, it's nice that he's a fellow South African youngster there too, Dewar Brevis, who we spoke to him about as well when he came on the show. So go ahead and look at our exclusive interview with Tristan Stubbs and Vian Libber, both of them. Some excellent insight given over there. We've got a couple of interviews with Tristan on the channel that you guys can go look to find out more about him, of course. But it's really cool to know that Mumbai picked him up, and Mumbai picking up quite a lot of South Africa's youngsters now. It's Marco Jansen, it's Dewar Brevis, and now it's as well there's Tristan Stubbs. So good to see that there's a link there between the South Africans and one of the best IPL teams, or arguably the best IPL team in history when it comes to winning trophies. So that was some excellent news that I think broke, and good luck to Tristan. I think that he will be able to show his capabilities, and I think there's actually more of a finished product to work with over there than there is with Dewar Brevis. So let's see if what Shashin and the guys can get up to when it comes to teaching him what he needs to know. And obviously we want to see his game develop into a world-class player like we know he can be, and like we know he is currently. Then, guys, there's some extra information that has been given to us and has been shared to us by Firdaus Munda. Firdaus has now put in together some excellent articles about this particular league. And obviously this new South African league is obviously going to be the talk of the town currently. And she says that 4 IPL franchises, the Delhi Capitals, Chennai Super Kings, Mumbai Indians, and Rajasthan Royals, and a consortium led by Kevin Peterson, have expressed interest in buying franchise in South Africa's new T20 tournament. So I'm taking it that a couple of businesses have come together, and Kevin Peterson is kind of the head of that in a way, to have a team. It's awesome to see that there's some Indian interest instantly, because I think that's going to be the key for South Africa to really, compete. It's basically the IPL 2.0 over here, if you can look at the way they describing this tournament and who's involved. The competition schedule for January next year is set to include 6 privately owned teams who will play each other home and away over a group stage of 30 matches before the playoffs. The CSA's third attempt at launching a T20 competition after the Global League T20 in 2017 failed, and now the defunct Mzansi Super League, which was played 2018 and 2019. According to a document shared at a special meeting of Cricket South Africa Members Council meeting, CSA is aiming to create the second best T20 league in the world after the IPL. Well, they're off to a good start with the people that are getting involved here, though. The document acknowledges that only the IPL has enjoyed runaway success, and that there is a clear gap between India's T20 league and the others, which leaves CSA with no choice but to focus on being second best in the T20 tournament stakes. To that end, it has involved the one person who knows how to create league success better than most, Sundar Raman. Now, I would love to ask Aditya about this when he comes on the show, because I think this is a man that would be able to probably give us a lot of insight into this appointment, because this is a massive move. Someone that has been at the top of the IPL, in the brains trust of creating this tournament and being in charge of running these tournaments. He'll also hold a minority share in the competition. The document has Raman owning 12.5% share of yet to be named to the tournament, with CSA maintaining the majority share of 57.5% and broadcaster Supersport only owning a remaining 30%. Excellent. That's CSA will be making money from this as well. So they found a way to help all parties. And there's a little bit of a Woolworths advert popping up of the screen. So Woolworths, call us if you want to place any ads on our shows, etc. Because you look like awesome it actually looks. Flashing on our screen, so maybe get in touch. Maybe we can be dressed by Woolworths. But CSA estimates that the league will cost about around $56 million over 10 years and will make revenues of 30 million in the same period. But added to that is also a commitment from Supersport to pay $89 million, which will allow CSA and the franchise to make a profit to be split 50-50 in the first decade. That's excellent. That they came to an agreement that suits both parties. This is sounding almost like unreal. South Africa making cricketing decisions, good cricketing decisions for the country, and good money decisions for the country and for cricket in the country. The document claims the league will be an economically viable project for CSA from day one, which makes it different to the other two attempts. The Global T20, which was abandoned for reasons including the absence of a broadcast partner, cost over 300 million rand, which is $19.1 million, and the two MSL events, which was screened on the public broadcaster, the SABC, for negligible, very, very negligible fee of 25 million rand, $1.6 million, cost over 200 million rand, which is 12.7 million US dollars. Both significantly reduce CSA's reserves, which some say at such a low level that the game in South Africa is at risk of becoming seriously financially constrained in the near future. Now, I spoke about this before. I said that this particular tournament is going to create a lot of opportunity for youngsters to dream about the future, and youngsters to get into the process and mentality of hoping that they can one day become professional cricketers. Having that is powerful, and putting something in place that they know there's a financial aid for them, because if they get signed up in this tournament, hopefully that will be financially feasible for them to actually take their cricket to the next level, and it opens up positions for more cricketers to come through the system and follow in the footsteps of many. Also, playing this tournament is also going to put a lot of eyes on our players. They will be able to see themselves grow as players, and also the rest of the world will be able to. So tournaments like the BBL and the PSL and everything else, as including the IPL, will have a chance to see these players in a competitive league, and they might even get gigs around the world as a result. So I think it's a very good move for this tournament. I think this is it's very hopeful. I'm very hopeful about it. Everything's looking good so far. It looks like it's going to be feasible for both parties and for all parties involved. It looks like it's going to be a lot better planned. So hopefully they do so. They actually put this tournament in place in a way that I can feel comfortable about it, because they haven't named anything yet. But at least we know that the tournament is going to happen and that they are putting everything together. Hopefully, this will attract India players from which no other league has been able to do. Hopefully, some IPL players, at least the fringe Indian players that won't be playing for the international side but are doing well in the IPL, can maybe be signed to this tournament. Maybe there can be an option. It would be good to see certain players come and play and to create a stronger league. I hope that a lot of fast bowlers come and play as well, because we need that pace. As South African players, we need to be tested with that pace and that swing. Spin is starting to get obviously very, very important in the T20 game and arena, and I'm comfortable with South Africa's spinners in this country. We have some very good talent when it comes to the spin department. So yeah, that's basically all the news that I have for you guys today with regards to that. I think some good news been shared, some positive news for South African cricket going forward. Let's see what some of the things that you guys have had to say in the comment section. Stubbs is an IPL replacement. Yes, he is, for Mumbai. Mumbai also keen to buy team in SA's new T20 tournament. Yes, they are. So are we going to have teams named after Royal Super Kings with the with the IPL team involvement, like we see in the CPL with the Barbados Royals and the Trinbago Knights Riders. It's possible. I mean, with the Global T20 League, um, it happened that way when Priti Zinta and Shah Rukh Khan brought both franchises. The Stellenbosch were turned into the Kings, and the Cape Town team was turned into the Knight Riders. So the names did change according to the franchise and the brands. So it's possible that that could be the case. That the owners will decide what the name of the team is. But I hope that there's that they we I would rather prefer us making up names that stay and stick, because for future generations, you don't want to still be the Kings. You don't still want to be the Kings. Um, you don't still want to be the Kings for years and then Priti Zinta's not in charge of the team anymore. That would be quite dumb. Um, so yeah, that's a bit crappy. Yeah. So let's move on from this right now. Sorry, I was just getting a message that I need to reply to. Let's get on to the topic. It's interesting to see that we can talk about T20 cricket a lot more now. There's IPL happening at the moment. We're going to be playing there's a T20 happening for the SAA team, which is also awesome. Um, so it's good to see that there's a balance. So um, that that T20 cricket is currently been playing on a regular basis. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by Wazim's. Why we sometimes are we getting very low quality streaming? It won't be on my side because everything on my side is HD quality. The the connection is quite strong at the moment, so it might be on your side maybe that the connection is not as strong. Um, I don't know. But from my side, I've checked everything. Everything is clear on my side. So I'm sorry if you guys do have a little bit of a low quality stream now and again. That might also be your settings on YouTube. It depends what you are set on, what settings it's on. Moving back to this to the T20 discussion again. Do you see T20 cricket is so important for all of us? Um, we have to think about focusing on this game with the World Cup around the corner. There's the series happening now to prepare. So there's a lot of T20 cricket happening, and there's a lot of T20 stars that have been talked about. Um, so it will be interesting. Sorry, guys, 2 seconds. So when you're talking about T20 batting on difficult pitches, we have gone to into quite a lot of depth, particularly in our magazines. And that's why I urge you guys to read our digital magazine, because we go into a lot more depth. Our writers go into a lot more depth with the particular people about certain things, about the game, about how T20 works, and how to improve your game, and how to look at gaps, and how to find differences, etc., within your things. Um, it's important so that we do all of those things, that we look at all the factors that are important to growing our T20 game, and players to continuously grow their T20 game. So difficult pitches is something that South Africans have generally had to do whenever they've gone to the IPL. I feel that the IPL specifically has been difficult for them. It depends obviously where you come from and where you're playing. If you're coming from South Africa, you will have quite a variety of different types of pitches. Maybe Australia is a little bit more um, seamer friendly, pace bounce, etc. consistently, whereas swing operates a little bit more in England. But dependable on where you are, you will obviously have different challenges. Now, South Africans maybe in the past who had problems against spinners, and going to the IPL would have helped them a lot with that. We could see a lot of the South Africans that have played in the IPL don't necessarily have a problem with spin. Um, so over the time, So over time, we you grow and you grow and you grow as a player. So let's see what happens with regards to different pitches and different conditions, because difficult conditions, and the only way you can learn how to bat on difficult conditions is to continuously play in those conditions over time. Now, there are different skills. So, for example, if it's a spinning pitch, you're obviously going to have to play against quality spinners on that pitch consistently to improve your game. Now, there's different ways that you can counterattack that. A nice way for me personally, I feel to on a difficult pitch, what I would suggest that batters maybe do from just analyzing different batters' approach, I would try to get runs on the board as quick as possible. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean boundaries. This means also running between the wickets. And I think that that is a very important skill that you can learn on a difficult pitch, to rotate the strike. Because if it's difficult for a batter, it most likely will be difficult for a bowler too. Because what I think most batters probably will struggle with is inconsistencies. I think that's probably what most batters will struggle with: the inconsistent pace, bounce, whatever the case may be on the wickets. So it will be difficult for a bowler also to find consistency on difficult pitches for if the pitch is difficult for a batter. But a batter can learn how to maneuver themselves at the crease. They can find ways to turn ones into twos. They can try to find ways and how to turn those bad balls into boundaries. It's very important to keep that the batting ticking over and the score ticking over on the side continuously, 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 ticking over in the middle. So it's very important for all batters to find different methods that they can pull out in times of need. It's good to have different arsenal, different types of stroke play. You talk about people having 360 games so that they can do things like that. They can pull out certain strokes. They can pull out certain um, strokes if they need them, and certain techniques if they need them. So all of those things are important when it comes to building a T20 game that is adaptable. Um, and the I mean, obviously, the clear cut, obvious answer to this question is, of course, the more you play, the better you get, the more experience you get playing in difficult conditions, difficult pitches, the better you'll get at doing so. Um, and you can't always guarantee that you're going to get a great T20 pitch throughout the game or throughout the series. And we'll tend to see, I think this SAA tour will be an interesting one to see as well, how 5 T20s are being played in Zimbabwe. It will be good to see how the pitches hold up and how different the pitches are in Zimbabwe compared to how they are around the world, because they don't have the infrastructure, the money, and all of that to be able to put into the infrastructure and into the pitches and all of that. So it will be good to see how they maintain that. We saw a low scoring game, and we saw a high scoring game. So it's a very interesting difference that we see in the two games that they've played so far. So we're gonna have to see the rest of the tournament to see what happens. Oops, let's go. Khalid, by your own personal choice, which cities would you like to see have a franchise in this new T20 league? So I'm gonna go I have to start with the Paul Rocks, because I think the Paul Rocks have done exceptionally well to first and foremost stand out in the first MSL. Even though they never won the tournament, they stood out as a team. Second of all, I feel that uh, because they've won also a T20 challenge this season as well, so they've got, I think, 3 or 2 T20 trophies under their belt. So I think Paul has to have one. I mean they deserve one. Then I'll go with the major franchises like the Lions and the Titans, who have been in trophies all the time. I would prefer if they picked one in that region and not two. I know that it's tough because there is quite distance between Pretoria and Joburg, but I would rather want them to pick maybe one in that region, and then try to give maybe some of the other grounds an opportunity. So I'll pick between probably going for the bull ring in this one. In this case, I think that's a nice central. I'm thinking about the city. Um, it's a wild-like city, Johannesburg, and it is one of the capitals. So it's important that you have like it's one of the most important cities in Cape Town when it comes to business end, etc. So it's a very important to have a team in Joburg. So I'll say first and foremost Paul and Joburg. I'll give Newlands one because Newlands an iconic ground. So that's three. But then that goes against what I'm saying for the Paul Rocks and Bloemfontein having it. So I mean, sorry, Paul Rocks and Borland having it. I'm just gonna add Aditya to the stream as well. He's with us right now. I've got a couple of questions for him as well to talk about. But I'm going to just complete this. Look, I have to rethink what I said now because the arguments I gave for Joburg, the same arguments for Cape Town, Paul and Pretoria, it's almost the same. So maybe is there going to be two in Cape Town? I mean, I think maybe we need to spread it out a little bit more. So maybe have one in Cape Town, and then decide between. I think Newlands takes that one. Then have one in Johannesburg region, and then the Bull Ring takes that one. Then I think we need to have PE. I think is a brilliant place to have a tournament with, especially with the lights that they put into their stadium. I think it would be a nice place to host a T20 team as well. I think that may be a third one. Durban, definitely. I think Kingsmead is important. Important. The Dolphins have been successful also in the franchise as well. And then I said Poch. And the reason I said Poch is, but there will have to be a lot of investment made into the stadium and etc. for this tournament. But the reason I say Poch is because it's the student city. It's a city where a lot of the students are very much involved in watching cricket, etc. And it's a hub for the future of this game in the rest of the world. So I think it's important that maybe Poch gets an opportunity to maybe have a team because I think it will grow the game from a youth's perspective in the country. And I think we've got quite a diverse. Now, who the sixth one is, I think that's a little bit up for grabs. I think you can go with anybody. I guess maybe because the Rocks won, should have a team because I want two in Cape Town. But Pretoria is also another option for SuperSport Park. It's the big stadium. It's an international cricket stadium. So it's important that we utilize that ground maybe as well. But I gave you five. Maybe we can look at the other six. I mean, what is your thoughts, Aditya, on this before I get into what I want to actually ask you?
Clovestock, maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think there can be an overseas 11 from Clovestock at this stretch with Manus Laluskake as captain.
Interesting one, Aditya. I like that one. It's funny. Okay, look here, bro. What I want to ask you is, I spoke a little bit earlier about the news, particularly about some of the IPL franchises wanting to get involved with the new T20 league in South Africa. So I'm gonna read them out to you. I don't know if you read the story, but I'm gonna read out to you which ones that they were, so that we can just all be on the same page. But they spoke about Delhi Capitals, Chennai Super Kings, Mumbai Indians, and the Rajasthan Royals, and also a consortium of led by Kevin Peterson. So I'm taking it that it's a couple of businesses that Kevin Peterson will be that are coming together to own a franchise, basically. And what I want to actually ask you about, besides the franchises owning, I want to ask you about this man over here that they've seemed to be giving a big role and a big stake in the tournament, and that is, where can I find it now? Sundar Raman, the former chief operating officer of the IPL. He's going to be getting a minority share in the competition, so of 12.5%. So, and he's also obviously going to be involved with the growing of this competition. So, what can you tell me about him? And how good of a move do you think that is for this competition for South Africa?
Yeah, look, I think Sundar Raman, he is WV Sundar Raman. He is an established name in Indian cricket circles, right? He's basically um, he's a sports professional, and he's currently working with Reliance Industries, as the CEO. So Reliance is it's basically the company that owns the Mumbai Indians, and um, this is entirely his domain. He knows the entire franchise scene, and he's probably a good person to have that 12.5% share.
And from a did he? I mean, from the development of the tournament itself, the IPL itself, how much was he involved in actually like building the IPL into what it is, or coming up with those ideas, etc.?
Um, See, the thing is, the idea was born out of Lalit Modi's head at the time, but since then it's changed a lot. Lalit Modi, of course, is no longer involved with the IPL, but that's how it started. And then after that, a number of people took over, and I think there was Rajiv Shukla at one point, and I don't know who the current commissioner of the IPL is. Let me see. But yeah, I mean, there's an IPL governing council now, so
Okay.
they basically run it. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. There's going to be obviously four franchises involved as well. Do you think this will be the time that we'll see Indian players playing overseas in another tournament other than the IPL?
Y-
At least
Um,
fringe players.
yeah. So I think there'll be certain set of players that will play the tournament. But I personally, because of the schedule, I find it difficult to envision, current Indian players playing in the tournament. I don't know if there's enough time in the calendar for that, but I do see like a certain set of players, whether it's fringe players, young domestic players, or whether it's retired players, who people like Yuvraj Singh, for example, or Suresh Raina. Suresh Raina was in the auction for the IPL this year. He didn't get picked, and he has previously stated publicly that he would like to play in tournaments abroad. So,
That
I
would be a
feel like
good signing.
Suresh
Experience.
Raina would be a good
Yeah.
signing.
Yeah.
And it's not like because he's not actively involved in international cricket, he doesn't have the skill. He's still got it, but he
I
needs
mean,
an
me
avenue.
personally, Aditya, me personally, if I was involved, I would want to get a lot of those experienced heads in the tournament. Because I would want to teach the next generation of South Africans what the future of T20 cricket's like, learn everything what it was in the past. And I think the more experienced players will be able to do that for our younger South Africans. They will benefit from it the most. Obviously, yes, from a good coaching staffs as well, and all of those things. But I think by playing with these players, like the Rainers of the world, etc., I mean, it's good to see. It would be good to see those type of guys like this. If we could like get guys on the level of Yuvraj Singh used to be, those type of players, exciting players that were good finishers. Players that can teach South African skills that maybe might not have, and it would be good to have them in teams.
And
Um,
sorry, just to add the one thing that we talked about W.A. Sundaraman was that he was one of the individuals in the brains trust of the IPL that was uh, instrumental in the decision to move the IPL to South Africa in 2009.
oh
So
wow,
he knows South Africa well.
wow, okay, makes sense. Okay, Aditya, I want to get your thoughts on the topic. I touched on it a little bit earlier. I said that there are certain, obviously, conditions that are going to play a part in deciding what is a good pitch and what's a difficult pitch and not a difficult pitch, according to what a player is good at or bad at. We could see that, obviously, with regards to spin in the past, South Africa have struggled, but in recent times they've gotten better. The more players that played in the IPL, they improved. But the pitches in the IPL have changed a lot. They're not only sprinter-friendly tracks anymore. There are some amazing seamer-friendly wickets as well. You can see what Malik is clocking at the moment, and it's excellent to watch. It's scary to watch. Lockie Ferguson as well. So, what is your decision? I spoke about particularly rotation of strike and finding ways to get turn singles into twos, and maybe hit the bad balls for boundaries. Because I mentioned that if the pitch is difficult for a batter, it's most likely also difficult for a bowler, because normally what is difficult for a batter is inconsistencies. That's what gets them. That's what catches them out. If you think the ball is going to go straight and it turns, or you think it's going to turn and it goes straight, or you think those type of inconsistencies in the pitch, if it's coming off the wicket in that way, that can be considered as a difficult pitch, and that would make it difficult for a bowler also to bowl if they can't keep consistency, unless they're a very consistent bowler that can put the ball on an exact spot 8 times out of 10. So when you're talking about how T20 batting needs to be able to be developed, etc., to be able to play on difficult pitches, what you first comes to mind when you think about that?
Well, over the last couple of years, there's been chat about this balance between bat and ball. Certainly in white ball cricket, because these flat roads are not really helping anyone. So that's that's been the nature of some of the conversation revolving around the preparation of the wickets. And this time in the IPL, I think it was forced because of COVID and the fact that the entire IPL was going to be played across four stadiums. So because of the weather, and I must tell everyone watching here, the non-Indians, is that it is hot. It is seriously hot. Like when I went to the stadium, just a couple of days ago to watch the game, I was literally dripping in sweat. So it's not easy to maintain pitches in this sort of weather. So there is a lot of grass on all the strips, on all the squares across the four stadiums, and that's the only way that they can preserve the wicket. Now, what that means is that bowlers get a lot of assistance, particularly in the first 5 or 6 overs. So in this IPL, unlike others, where pitches were a bit more fresh and they didn't tire as quickly as they would otherwise, batters in this IPL have not been able to go hell for the leather from ball one. That just hasn't been the nature of this IPL, and that's a product of the sort of conditions that they're facing right now. So I think the wise thing to do, you look at the initial weeks of the IPL, the most successful batters were the ones who were batting in the middle order. Not necessarily the top order. Even right now, look at the orange cap. They're just two top order batsmen out there. So that's something that needs to be reflected upon, because it's probably a few weeks into the IPL that teams are now realizing that it's okay if you don't go crazy from ball one, as has been the trend for the last couple of years. It's okay not to do that, but it's better to preserve wickets and then cash in a little while later. But I feel like that's something that teams have learned.
Yeah, even when you're talking about those guys in the top tier that are opening the batting set, like the KL Rahuls of the world, y- the players that have a close to 360-degree game, that have an ability to be able to manipulate the ball into areas and control an innings. Those are the guys that are surviving and actually batting deep and scoring a lot of runs in T20 cricket these days, because of the variations that we are getting in the game. You know, the guys that have a good running between the wickets game, the guys that have the ability to be able to pick out gaps no matter where around in that 360-degree turn. Those are the ones that are becoming successful and really standing out. Those guys that stand and smack and stand and deliver like they used to are getting caught out a lot more than before. Those are not the guys that are actually headlining the IPL currently, which is crazy, and to see how the T20 game has developed.
But you're talking about KL Rahul, right? And he is, I think, he's second or third on the list of highest run getters this season. But he's also got two first ball ducks. So that tells you something about the conditions on offer. Rashid Khan is nowhere near the purple cap. Sure, he's got a lot of wickets. Kuldeep has done well, but you look at the bowlers who've been most penetrative in this IPL: Umesh Yadav, Mohammad Shami. When do they strike? They strike in the power play. And what sort of lengths are they bowling? They're bowling test match lengths. Prasidh Krishna, for example. Prasidh Krishna, Mohammad Shami, Umesh Yadav. They're bowling test match lengths. They're not doing they're not bowling slower deliveries or anything of the sort. They're bowling fast and they're bowling in that good length area and they're nicking it off. So that tells you something. And it's a different direction that T20 cricket is going in. Because I know Lorenzo is talking about about England's approach here. Uh, but the thing is, those conditions they're allowing for that. Currently, the IPL is in that situation where they couldn't afford to produce those batter friendly conditions that we're normally used to. For the reasons that I just talked about a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so interesting topic. It's something that we can flesh out a lot more on more shows to come. It's probably something that we with this dropping over here because you'll probably hear about this going forward into many other shows. But we've had an excellent show today, a well-rounded show. We'll be back again tomorrow at 7 normal time. Me and Aditya doing our things with the Q&A. You guys get your questions in. Your questions can on Instagram. It will help a lot if you want to get your questions in before the time. Getting them in on Instagram. This particular show will be streamed to Facebook as well as to YouTube. So it's a little bit of a competition, guys. I want you guys to show who the dominant media site has been with regards to our fan base, and you're going to compete against our Facebook guys. Go over to the Facebook guys, engage with the Facebook guys as well that are going to be commenting on the show. Let's get involved with this and spread the word. We're going to be doing that Q&A session to both Facebook and to YouTube on a Friday. We're going to try something different, try and spread the word a little bit more so we can get more of those Facebook guys to come over and join our YouTube family, because that's actually what we want to do. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to click subscribe, click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to also get involved with Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. You'll see Keshav Maharaj on the front cover for this one. Then become a patron as well today. This is how you join the family and help us grow and help us improve what we are doing over here. We need your help and your patronage. So get involved with the Patreon account right away. Also, go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks, Aditya, for coming and seeing us again. We'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show. Take care. Have a blessed evening, and we'll see you very, very soon. Peace.